Right, I'm here with Neon from Specialized, and we've just been riding the Stumpjumper today, and yesterday, and they've been riding all week. This is the new bike that looks kind of similar to the old bike, but is pretty different, and it's also pretty different from the equally similarly looking Stumpjumper Evo. So I just wanted to have a couple of questions about. So where does the Stumpjumper sit, and where does the Stumpjumper Evo sit? Are they similar riders, or is it a completely you're either one rider or you're the other?
I think it's so hard to say today, isn't it? Because where we ride most of the time is really our default from a bike experience perspective, isn't it? It's what is my trail in the Surrey Hills is very different to your trail and the
very
rocks,
different to where we are here,
and very different to Scotland, which is where we are at the moment. So I think both bikes can be the trail bike for you if you happen to live in specific areas. But for sure, the Stumpjumper, not the Stumpjumper Evo, would be our golden ticket. That is our pure trail bike.
The quiver killer.
The one bite to rule them all, some might say. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's a bike for everyone. But it is obviously certainly in a sweet spot of riding style. And we've tried to make it engaging, so you can feel the trail. A bike that you will climb on, because a lot of us still like to use, our legs and our lungs. But a bike that really doesn't isolate you in a I don't know what's going on way, rather than it helps you get down that trail and just makes your jaw ache from grinning. So
you still have to pick a line. It's not a sort of let go and.
It's not a gravity sled, for sure. No, we've got those bikes.
Yeah.
And for some people, in fact, some of the trails we're riding, today and yesterday. That's what I need for these trails. But for where I ride 90% of the time, and where I would choose to ride 90% of the time, I don't need that characteristic. I want something that's going to get me down the hill, get me back up the hill, keep me smiling, make me feel like I'm working out, but just make me smile, really.
And compared to the Epic Evo, which is the bike below it, I suppose that's 120, 120.
120, 110, and this is and this is 140, 130. So yeah, slightly different travel, but really from a characteristic point of view, yeah, they're actually shoulder to shoulder. It's like they're like they're brothers from another mother. Look, they're burgundy tops and shaved heads, and I could put my glasses on, you just confuse you out there. But yeah, I mean, they do rub shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
The Evo just has that edge as far as performance, and also has a little less, let's say, trail friendliness. For instance, it doesn't have a SWAT. In SWAT we carry stuff with us. Things break. We're sometimes in a place where the car's a long way away, or you've got no mobile reception. We want to carry things with us. The Epic is more about that sort of, point to point as fast as you can.
Like a controlled environment, whether it's racing.
Maybe it's a marathon race, but you're in that safe environment. Maybe it's a 2-hour blast, but you're looping round. Whereas the Stumpjumper might just take you that a bit further into the wilderness, a bit further away from things, and it has the capacity to do that. Whether you're talking about that increase in travel. The kinematics, the way the shock works, the way the suspension works, it has to absorb those bigger bumps that maybe the Evo would shirk off.
Evo, yeah.
The Epic Evo would shirk off, but the Stumpjumper would, get on with it and just nod its head and keep on through. So there's characteristics between the Epic Evo as far as weight and the Stumpjumper as far as weight, but from a suspension and the kinematics, they're quite distinct, and the geometry as well. You'll find that the Epic Evo is slightly more racy, as you said. It's a little bit different.
And the Stumpjumper range is the price range is quite wide.
Yeah,
compared to any of your other bikes, is it? probably the most?
I would say it is the broadest. Yeah, I'd say it's the broadest spectrum of prices. In fact, I am saying it is the broadest spectrum of prices because the rider for that bike is varied, hugely varied, and obviously, that's where a lot of us get into mountain biking. You know, we get in. That's our peanuts. We get into riding at different ages and at different levels from a financial and an age perspective, and we might not want to go out and spend £5,000. So £1,900 is where the Stumpjumper range starts.
Wow. Okay. Complete bike, complete alloy bike.
Complete alloy bike, same riding characteristics as the S-Works, different way of achieving it with links rather than flex stays and alloy rather than carbon. But we've still focused on weight even on those bikes. It's still something we really wanted to refine.
What sort of weight is the middle of the range Stumpjumper?
Now you're asking me tricky questions. I'm not going to answer because honestly, without going any piece of paper,
making it up.
I would be making it up. But I'll tell you that the carbon frame, carbon back end bike, if you like, with shock, with rear derailleur hanger, with bottle cage bolts, with all the hardware headset, all the hardware that you require is 2,250-ish grams. So we've saved over 200 grams really on the previous iteration,
right.
just on obviously a frame set, as I said, including shock and all the rest of it. So as a bike, we've dropped it even less because we focused on all of those facets rather than just reduce the weight in the frame and put heavy stuff on.
And because you've got the Stumpjumper Evo to handle the bigger, chunkier stuff, it doesn't have to do both jobs. So.
No, it's rather than a platform doing two different things, being a bit this and being a bit that. And now we have a definitive Stumpjumper Evo with its own geometry, own kinematics. The Stumpjumper has been able to find its own, honestly, traditional niche. It's a platform that we developed years and years back, and it's always been about that pure trail experience.
Right.
As I said, for some people, that could be an enduro. For some people, that could be a levo. But what we define as the sort of the middle ground, the
cartoon,
ground,
draw a mountain bike.
You draw a Stumpjumper. Yeah.
Well, that was such a good ending. We should probably end there, I guess.
We need to get our peanuts at a distance.
Yes. Right.